A millionaire client demanded I install a floating glass door against all safety codes. I made him sign a waiver. It lasted exactly 4 hours. I've been a glazier, glass specialist, for 15 years. I've installed windows in skyscrapers and bulletproof glass in banks. If there's one thing I know, it's this: glass respects physics. It doesn't care how rich you are. If you torque it wrong, it breaks. Enter Brad. Brad is your typical tech bro millionaire. He bought a mid-century modern mansion in the hills and was gutting it to make it look like an Apple store. He called my company for a custom shower enclosure in his master bathroom. When I walked in, I saw marble floors imported from Italy, $200 per tile, and gold fixtures. Brad walked in wearing a t-shirt that probably cost more than my weekly paycheck. "I have a vision," he told me, pointing to the shower opening. It was huge, floor to ceiling, about 10 feet, 3 meters high. "I want a single sheet of glass," said Brad. "No metal frame, no header bar at the top, just clean, floating glass. I want it to look invisible." I took some measurements and shook my head. "Brad, that opening is 10 feet tall. To span that height, we need half-inch thick tempered glass. A door that size will weigh about 160 pounds, 75 kilograms. You can't hang that much weight on just 2 side hinges without a support bar at the top. The leverage will pull the hinges out of the wall. The door will sag, and the moment the corner touches that tile floor, boom." Brad rolled his eyes. He pulled out his iPad and showed me a picture on Pinterest. It was a 3D render, not a real photo. "Look," he said, zooming in. "No header, no frame. If they can do it, why can't you? Are you saying you aren't skilled enough?" I took a deep breath. This is the classic Pinterest trap. Sir, that is a computer drawing. In the real world, gravity exists. Without a header, that door will warp. I can do it with a header bar, or we can do a fixed panel with a smaller door. But a giant swinging slab with no support, it's dangerous." He scoffed. "I don't pay for safe and boring. I pay for exceptional. If you're too lazy to figure out the engineering, I'll find someone else, but I thought you were the best." I looked at his smug face. I looked at the expensive marble floor, and I thought, okay, you want to learn physics the hard way? Let's do it. Update. I typed up the most specific "you are an idiot" waiver in company history. He signed it without reading. I stopped arguing. There is a moment with every nightmare client where you switch from customer service mode to malicious compliance mode. That moment had arrived. "You know what, Brad?" I said, putting on my best fake smile. "You're right. I shouldn't be limited by old school thinking. Let's do it your way." His chest puffed out. "Exactly. Innovation requires risk." "However," I continued, "because this is a non-standard installation, my insurance requires a specific waiver, standard procedure for innovation." I went out to my truck, opened my laptop, and drafted a document. It wasn't legal jargon, it was plain English. I wanted there to be zero ambiguity when the inevitable happened. The document, titled Waiver of Liability and Acknowledgement of Risk, had 4 key points. Professional advice ignored. The contractor, me, has explicitly advised the client, Brad, that the requested design, frameless door, 10 feet by 3 feet, no header, is structurally unsound and dangerous. Risk of catastrophic failure. The client acknowledges that the glass will likely sag, warp, and potentially explode due to stress. Zero warranty. There is no warranty on parts or labor. Once the glass is installed, it is the client's property. If it breaks 1 second later, no refund. Indemnification. The client accepts full responsibility for any damage to the property, i.e. the fancy tile, or injury to persons. I printed it out on my portable printer and walked back in. "I need you to sign this, and I need the full payment for the glass up front. $6,000, non-refundable." Brad glanced at the paper. He didn't read a single bullet point. He just laughed, shaking his head like I was a pitiful bureaucrat. "You guys and your paperwork," he scoffed. If it makes you feel safer, sure. He scribbled his signature at the bottom with a flourish. Then he tapped his phone and sent the wire transfer. Have it installed by Friday, he said, turning his back to me. I'm hosting a housewarming party Friday night and I want to show off the bathroom. I looked at the signature. I looked at the bank notification on my phone. Friday it is, I said. I ordered the glass. I knew I was basically ordering a time bomb, but hey, at least I was paid to build it. Update 2. We installed it. The clearance was less than a millimeter. I told him to treat it like a bomb. He invited 50 people over. Friday morning arrived. My team and I carried the 160-pound sheet of tempered glass up the stairs like we were carrying a nuclear warhead. One slip on those marble floors and it would be game over. Installation took 3 hours longer than usual. Why? Because we were fighting gravity every second. We bolted the hinges into the wall. As soon as we hung the heavy glass, I heard a faint creak. It wasn't the glass, it was the wood studs inside the wall groaning under the leverage. The door immediately sagged about 1/4 of an inch. I spent an hour adjusting the hinges to their absolute limit. When I finished, the gap between the bottom of the glass door and the Italian marble floor was microscopic, maybe 2 millimeters. A sheet of paper could slide under it, but a credit card would get stuck. It was technically floating, but in reality, it was a guillotine waiting to drop. Brad walked in around 1 p.m. holding a glass of champagne. "Magnificent," he whispered, staring at the invisible door. "See? I told you it would work. It's seamless." He reached out to grab the handle. "Stop," I barked. He froze. "Brad, listen to me very carefully," I said, pointing at the bottom corner. "Look at that gap. The hinges are already settling. This glass is under immense tension. If you open this door fast, the torque will twist the panel. If that corner touches the tile for even a split second, the whole thing explodes." He waved his hand dismissively. Okay, open gently, got it." "I'm serious," I pressed. "Don't slam it, don't hang a towel on it. Honestly, don't even look at it wrong. And definitely don't let your drunk friends use this bathroom tonight." He laughed. "You worry too much. It's perfect. My guests are going to freak out when they see this." "Oh, they'll freak out all right," my partner muttered under his breath as we packed up our tools. We left the house at 2 p.m. I double-checked that my phone volume was on high. I knew the call was coming. I just didn't realize how soon. Update 3. He called me screaming at 9:15 p.m. "It exploded! There's glass in my guest's wine." I was sitting on my couch, enjoying a beer and watching a movie when my phone lit up. Caller ID, Brad. It was 9:15 p.m., roughly 7 hours after installation. Honestly, it lasted longer than I expected. I answered on the first ring. "Hello, Brad." "You almost killed me," he screamed. The background noise was chaotic. People shouting, music stopped, someone crying. It exploded. The whole thing just exploded. I stayed calm. "Are you hurt? Do you need an ambulance?" "I'm bleeding. My legs are cut up. My floor is covered in millions of pieces. My guests are terrified. It sounded like a shotgun went off." Tempered glass is designed to shatter into small, dull cubes for safety, but dull is relative. If 160 pounds of it rains down on your bare feet, it's gonna slice you up. "What happened, Brad?" I asked. "Did you open the door?" "I was showing it to the guys," he yelled, breathless. "I just pulled the handle, barely touched it, and then bam, it just disintegrated. You installed faulty glass. You're gonna pay for my medical bills, my floor, and a new door. I'm suing you for everything you have." I took a sip of my beer. This was the moment the $6,000 autograph was for. "Brad, stop screaming and listen. Go to your email, search for the subject line, liability waiver." "I don't care about your stupid email." "You should," I said, my voice dropping to a serious tone, Because paragraph 2 specifically states that you acknowledge the risk of, and I quote, catastrophic failure and explosion due to structural stress. You signed it this morning. You waived your right to sue. You accepted full responsibility. There was a silence on the other end. I could practically hear the gears turning in his head as he remembered the document he mocked. You set me up," he whispered. "No, Brad, I warned you. You paid me to ignore my own warning. Physics doesn't care about your money." He hung up. I didn't sleep well that night, mostly because I felt bad for the glass. It was a nice piece of glass. Final update. He tried to do a credit card chargeback. My bank laughed at him. I drove by his house yesterday. The next morning, I received a notification from my payment processor. Dispute opened, $6,000. Reason, defective merchandise. Brad was trying to claw his money back. I spent about 10 minutes compiling my evidence. The signed waiver with his signature time-stamped, a screenshot of our text messages where I warned him about the weight, the photo of the finished installation showing the floating design he demanded, and a short explanation. Client demanded a design against safety code, was warned, signed waiver accepting risk of breakage. Breakage occurred as predicted. The bank closed the dispute in my favor within 48 hours. I kept every penny. 2 weeks later, I had a job in the same neighborhood. I couldn't resist. I took a detour past Brad's modern mansion. It was evening and the lights were on. Through the large frosted window of the master bathroom, I saw a silhouette. There was no gleaming, invisible glass door anymore. Instead, hanging on a cheap tension rod that was bowing in the middle, was a flimsy white plastic shower curtain, the kind you buy at Walmart for $10. I chuckled, drove away, and turned up the radio. Sometimes the best revenge isn't what you do to people, it's what you let them do to themselves.